Good morning, everyone. What an amazing venue, and welcome to Seicho 2026. It's wonderful to have so many of you here, UK's most influential marketeers, leaders, and storytellers, all in one room today. This morning, we've got a brilliant morning, and it's packed. It's designed to make sure that we are helping you make a bit more sense of navigating change. I think you would agree there's quite a lot going on at the moment, and what that actually looks like in practice for you. We're going to start. We've got a session with a number of amazing senior brand leaders sharing how they are actually responding to all the economic pressure that's going on, the shifting consumer expectations, and also their own organisational transformation, and where they're actually placing some of their bets for future growth. Then we're going to do a pause. I'm very excited for this moment because we've got an intimate fireside chat conversation with Gillian Anderson. And Gillian's going to be reflecting on creativity, influence, and her own reinvention in a world that has been defined by constant change. Just calming my inner fangirl for that one. Throughout the morning, we're going to focus on a number of things, but the focus overall is on clarity, helping you connect all the different forces that are reshaping your world at the moment, and also helping navigate what comes next, but doing that also with confidence. But before we begin, a word on our theme, and that word is Seicho. And for those of you that don't know, it is a Japanese term for growth. But growth, not just financial, but growth in terms of how you earn that through resilience and curiosity and all that continuous learning. And also, importantly, growth that lasts. And that mindset, I think probably everyone would agree, matters so much more now than ever before. A few weeks ago, I found myself on my way home, and I popped into the Waitrose as I pop out the tube, and I was doing that familiar dance in my head, thinking, I've got nothing in the fridge, I need to go and get something to make sure that we have something to eat tonight, but also thinking at the same time, I've got to get my daughter Maggie to football practice in about an hour and a half. And as I was in there was a couple ahead of me, and they were deciding between a couple of products, but they weren't necessarily comparing what was on the shelf. One of them had their phone out and they were re-watching the TikTok video, which had an influencer who was suggesting a recipe. So doing that scroll of figuring out what ingredients was needed. And the other one also on their phone, but this time actually looking at some price matching alerts around some products and telling their partner that, of course, they were better getting those oyster mushrooms from Waitrose rather than the shop down the road. So that decision, in terms of my observation, wasn't necessarily happening in the aisle with what was in front of them. It was happening across 2 different screens, 4 signals was going on, and also multiple algorithms. And this behavior mirrors exactly what we're seeing in our own data. In the immediate post-government budget wave of our UK Consumer Navigator study, this was conducted 24 hours straight after the Chancellor had sat down and shared with us. And we saw something quite decisive coming out of that. 76% of UK consumers told us that they were doubling down on finding better value by switching brands. They were also thinking about how they actually stack up their loyalty rewards, and also using all the digital tools that was available to them to make those smarter choices. And people haven't stopped spending. That is still happening. They've just simply raised the bar in terms of their own expectations of what earns their own money from other brands. And that's the reality of what we are here to talk about today. And that shift is showing up clearly in a lot of the conversations that I have with a number of you in the audience, our clients, around how this is happening and impacting your business. And the hottest topic that's out there at the moment isn't just growth, it's actually value. For us, as brand leaders, and just as much for those consumers that we are serving on a daily basis. There's this growing pressure for all of us to demonstrate the tangible impact of marketing investment, and not only in short term, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with, but also long term when it comes to brand growth, and how we make sure that that stands up to the scrutiny from our friends, our CFOs, and our CEOs of the business alike. And the brands that are leading the way are those that are connecting channels end to end. They are also thinking about how they build test and learn cultures, and also using real time to show that every single pound that is invested drives measurable business outcomes. And this moment does demand leadership, because we're living through the fastest rewiring of consumer behavior in 50 years. And the decisions that you will make over the next 12 months are going to shape your brands for probably the next decade. Across industries, we are now seeing massive structural shifts. Shifts that would have once probably defined a whole decade. And we're now seeing this happen probably over a period of 2 to 3 months. And change is making everything compress in terms of time. You just have to look at the scale of M&A that's happening in our industry at the moment. If you think about financial services, Aviva had made a move on Direct Line Group in terms of thinking about, at a business like Aviva, a real category stalwart, but still thinking about how they need to re-architect their business to drive future advantage and future growth for their business. And in media and entertainment, you've got the potential consolidation going on, and platform competition is helping reshape expectations around scale, distribution, and the future of UK content. And that's a perspective I'm really looking forward to later exploring. Kate Waters, who is ITV's Director, Client Strategy and Commercial Marketing, is on Matt's panel, who is coming up shortly. And also even in the telecoms business, you've got Vodafone and Three, and they have merged to create UK's largest mobile network. And we're also going to hear from their chief brand officer, Maria Koutsadakis, on how that kind of organizational transformation reshapes brand and customer experience. They are all signals, and the future to organizations that integrate boldly and strengthen those capabilities and simplify for scale. And they aren't isolated plays either. Politically, we've got the UK is entering this huge period of shifting policy direction and also evolving regulatory expectations, which I know many of you are feeling. And marketers and brand leaders will be asked to meet so much higher standards of accountability for not just their business, but for the consumers. Geopolitically, a lot going on at this very moment. Supply chains are being reshaped. There's a lot of volatility happening, which is affecting so many things, whether that's trade flows, consumer sentiment, and it's all happening in real time. And we're seeing that instability reflected in the same study, the UK Consumer Navigator Pulse Survey. And that was also at the same time, just past post-budget, where that showed us that a third of consumers rate the economy as being in terrible shape, which is not great to hear. But also, smarter spending is accelerating. And 43% of us are looking to think about switching brands in the year ahead of us. So we've got markets are shifting, confidence is fluctuating, business models are being reconsidered, and meanwhile, technology is also rewriting all those different rules of engagement. Generative AI, identity solutions, retail media proliferation. We've got new walled gardens. We've got privacy-first models that are becoming the dominant operating mode for us all. And that pace of change is not just demanding transformation, but transformation which is happening on repeat. And legislation is also raising the bar for responsible marketing. So whether that's about less healthy food restrictions, to child safety protocols, with frameworks that are designed to protect people and not just markets alone. Wow, if that list didn't feel a little bit exhausting, I promise you that wasn't a test of how much you need to retain before we get to whatever it is, 10:30 this morning. And if you're mentally thinking, please get outside and get me another coffee, you're not the only one feeling like that at the moment. But I also want to reassure you that this still remains probably one of the most exciting times to be in our industry, because advertising is at the heart, and it is also very much a human industry. It sits at this intersection of culture, technology, and behaviour, and it fuels so much in terms of economic value back into our wider economy. And it also helps people navigate some of those big life decisions. Well, it could be big decisions, but also some of those small ones, like the couple in Waitrose. And that world becomes more complex. And as it does, our work becomes even more meaningful. Which brings me to why are we actually here today? Amid all this noise, there is one constant that holds true, and that is growth is no longer created by one single channel or capability or moment. It's created by how well everything starts connecting together. Media still plays a really, really vital role, where attention is earned, experiences begin, and those signals start emerging. But its real power is realized when it's in concert with creative, data, tech, and customer experiences. And media informs intelligence. Creativity gives it more meaning, and technology enables the relevance and also the speed for what we need to do. And customer experience ultimately determines whether value and where value is ultimately felt. As algorithms increasingly start to shape what people see, what they trust, and also the choices that they make, the opportunities for brands is not simply just to do more. It is about how do we bring all those different elements together in a way that feels really coherent, but also really important, how it feels human. And when those systems behind them are really, really complex, it becomes really important. The algorithms is now as important as your brand and understanding them. And that's what we talk about when we say media plus plus. Not as media sitting in isolation, but as the integration of media, creative, technology, and customer experience in that connected growth system. It reflects how we already work across our brands, our media brands, Cara, iProspect, and dentsu X. They're all focused on reshaping attention and driving insight. We have Merkle, who is really thinking about how we connect identity and data and bringing those experiences together. And Tag, enabling scaled content and production, and also dentsu Creative, which is there to bring the craft and that cultural impact that gives everything much more meaning. Different capabilities working as one to help you clients navigate complexity while staying really, really focused on what matters most. And that means that creating experiences that feel relevant, responsible and genuinely useful to the people that you need to serve. And we've been building and refining integrated systems longer and more consistently, probably than anyone else in the market at the moment. And those results have really been showing up, probably in the performance that we're delivering and also in the brand strength and also the client transformation work that we're working with you on a daily basis. And it's exactly what this new era requires, which is one single system. We no longer operate in a world of linear journeys or that predictable funnel that we all work to. Every brand in this room now competes in an environment where algorithms shape attention. They also help inform choice, they inform pricing, and also thinking about loyalty and outcomes. And often, before a customer consciously realizes that they are making that final decision. And that's why integration has become the real foundation of advantage in our industry, and in particular in this algorithmic era. A system that's built for speed, for signals, and also for intelligence, but more importantly, for that connected growth that everyone is looking for at the moment. And growth is no longer driven by one individual channel alone. It's shaped by how creative, data and tech and experience is all coming together to influence those decisions that are in motion. At dentsu, we design, plan, and activate these decision environments at the core, and we're always building for what's next. The agentic era, where intelligent systems will increasingly redefine how people discover, evaluate, and engage with their brands. And our teams are deeply embedded in this thinking, ensuring every interaction that we have works really, really hard, every experience feels really meaningful, and every investment contributes to more sustained value for your business. And one of dentsu's greatest advantage is our open source partnership model that we work with. We connect you to the most powerful technology ecosystem in the world. So be that Meta or Google or Adobe, Microsoft, Salesforce, AWS, and of course many more, while simultaneously looking at how we are advancing our own cutting-edge AI solutions and data capabilities in-house. We're Google's #1 digital analytics and ad tech partner in the UK. For Adobe, we are their preferred content supply chain partner, and we also hold top-tier status with Salesforce as a summit partner. And this gives us the best of both worlds. Proprietary intelligence on one hand and also open innovation in the other. And it means that you never have to choose between creativity and technology, between scale and specialism, or between the tried and tested and the next frontier. Growth today isn't measured only in efficiency or performance, it is measured in trust. Expectations from consumers, employees, investors, regulators will continue to rise, and the brands that respond with transparency and responsibility don't just earn trust, they will be building resilience. Because ultimately, growth isn't only about results, it's about building brands that endure. So what does today offer you? Seicho 2026 is here, and it's built to do 3 things for you. First one is to help see where that next wave of growth is coming from and how can media help drive it further and faster for you. Second, help you understand how connecting media, creativity, data, tech, and customer experiences to give you so much stronger brand growth, to give you clearer performance impact, and also better customer outcomes. And finally, confidently help you navigate that algorithmic era, giving you clear steps to embed AI data and technology and decisioning into your own marketing model. So to return to that story I began with, in Waitrose, still thinking about that moment, 2 people making one decision in 7 different places. They weren't following a funnel, they were following signals. And the brands that win in this world are those that operate as one system, where media, creative, customer experience aren't separate conversations, but they're also connected capabilities driving one outcome. The heart of Seicho, and that's the promise of Media++. And that is why today really matters. Every leader in this room is navigating volatility at the moment. Every brand that you steward is under pressure to do so much more with a lot less. And every consumer that you are serving is redefining value in real time. But amid that complexity lies opportunity. Growth definitely hasn't disappeared. It has just simply changed a little bit of shape. And the brands that win are the ones that are going to stay curious, that they're going to stay integrated, but more importantly, they're going to stay human. And that's what today's about. And that is what dentsu is built for. And that is the partnership we are really, really honoured to build with all of you. So thank you. And let's begin.